All right, so let's take a look at the mini Russell. Okay, we're on a 120-minute time frame, and last week as we moved towards the close of the week, we identified this sideways trading channel. Okay, structured resistance. So let's pull this guy down. Okay, and again, you can see here the spikes on the 120-minute time frame. We'll pull it back down into an hourly as well. So the initial drive on the 120, okay, look left, swing highs, new structure low, and you see here a 127 extension of that initial drive holding support, 747s to 740s. Now again, this spike right here is right where we bottomed out. So we've got a 127 extension right here and currently double bottoms. Now let's pull it down to an hourly time frame. Okay, and now you can see here the sideways trading channel that's set up. So we've seen retest right here at the 800 level. You see here we're trading at about 8 points a candle, and now over here on the right side we could get a pattern set up for the long entries around 760. So right now, DST clients, beautiful opportunity for a channel trade on the mini Russell. Okay, sell side against 800s. Now, last week we discussed that 800 sell. Look left, you got to respect the swing highs right there for stops. So that high comes in at 807. We talked about 809s. Okay, there was the spike high to 806, and since that time you see a full 20-point retracement. So we'll see if we get a measured move on the way down. Let's look at a fib extension. I'm going to run from the swing high to this impulse low. Okay, so secondary targets on the short entry, 764. Now, note Arnie's post right there. Stocks dropped on open Tuesday. Investors nervously awaited the outcome of the emergency meeting. Fed Reserve Chairman Bernanke, there we go, thank you, Arnie. Secretary Treasury Paulson, Banking Committee Chairman Chris Dodd. Okay, so that is on its way. Meeting might lead to hoped-for Fed rate cut ahead of the ongoing or the opening bell. Okay, so be cautious right here as we've got this meeting taking place, and obviously there could be a surprise rate cut, or anything that comes out of that camp is going to be extremely sensitive, and obviously the markets are going to react probably quickly to that news. All right, so mini Russell right here, you see that we pulled back into the 780s on your shorts. If you held that over the weekend, opportunity here for extendeds at 64, and then if we press back down into the 47 to 50 zone, opportunity there for the long entries. Let's go look at the NASDAQ U7. Now you see the NASDAQ popped into an extreme new structure low. Let's go to the daily to see where we are relative to a longer time frame. Okay, S&P still looking for that gap fill at 1448.50. Now you'll see here the swing low that comes in. I'm going to go ahead and draw our impulse move on the NASI, and I'm going to pull this down. Here's our retrace, extend, and then the one-to-one measured move right here that we talked about last week. Okay, that pressed down into the 1850s. Now we'll pull in a 240-minute time frame so you can focus a little bit on price action on the right side. Okay, we drove down into the pattern completion at 1850. You'll note the NASDAQ moved through that down to 1814, but didn't even approach the protective stops. And now so far we've rallied off of that. NASI currently trading around 1900. So a 50-point move off of the 1850 entry. S&P 500 traders moving to a bull rotation on that and the Dow Jones. Okay, watch your Stomax signals on the long entries. All right, now let's pull this down into a 60-minute time frame and let's look at the recent trade. Okay, so we're back into the NASDAQ here, hourly. Could get an inverted head and shoulders bottom set up. Here's the left shoulder, neckline, inverted head, and you're going to see here a probable qualified sell signal. Take the swing high to the new structure lows, retrace, pull this back, extend, and now we'll look at a one-to-one measured move for a projection. Swing high to that new structure low. Okay, looks like short entries around this swing high right here, 1955. Okay, now let's go ahead and run a fib extension. Remember, we talked about this yesterday in training. ABCD price patterns, and then look for Ration confluence. So you'll note 58 versus 65, that's near the one-to-one measured move. Okay? So right here, NASDAQ, short entries 55 to 60s, and then stops have to go above 2011. All right, S&P. Take a look at the recent activity. S&P 500. All right, now let's look left. We've got the swing high to this new structure low. You see the outside return to the 786 retracement currently holding price. Now let's do the measured move from the swing high to the lowest low. And now you'll note a point of Ratian confluence here. You'll see the 618 of the bigger move. I'm going to pull in the 886 here. And you'll see these guys dropping right on top of each other. Okay, so 5861 produces a little 3-point offer zone on the S&P 500. Look left, that swing high comes in at 60.25, and that contained the advance the other day when we took off from those swing lows and moved straight north 35 or 40 points. Okay, now let's look at an impulse move. Any short entries here against 58 to 60, aggressive, and then the bigger pattern completion at the 127 extension and the 786 retracement. Okay, so that would look like this here, here, and then here. Okay, now again, just like we discussed yesterday, you'll notice that from 80s to 10, well over 35 points of exposure. Okay, increased volatility. Then if we do get the sell-off, opportunity for initial targets down here for plus 30, a 1-to-1 risk-reward ratio on the initial portion, and then a possible drive back down into 1350s. Okay, now let's go look at the Dow Jones. DST clients, note your Stomac. Here's first strike. And the Dow looking exactly the same. Okay, so Dow back into previous structure support, acting as resistance. Again, you're going to have a point of Ratian confluence. You'll see right here, just shy of the 618. Take the last swing high to that same structure low, 786, 13,200s. Now, intraday, we've got a 238 resistance 1 pivot. So we'll see if we get a drive into that area and then a possible aggressive short entry.